Ale, ale, ale. Ale, ale, ale.
Yes, welcome, ladies, gentlemen, and anybody else who is joining us here today. This is the Sheff United Way match reaction. It's the match reaction to the Sheffield Derby, but it is the match reaction to a Sheffield double. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. I think I saw earlier, for the first time in 126 years, Sheffield United have done the double over Sheffield Wednesday without conceding a goal across both games. What a result. And there's a question that keeps coming to me, and it keeps rattling around in my head. Who put the ball in the Wednesday net? Who put the ball in the Wednesday net? Who put the ball in the Wednesday net? Rhian Brewster. Yes, what a moment. Oh, and do you know what? I'm so happy for Rhian Brewster to get to experience that. You know, think about everything he's gone through since he's joined United. All the injuries, all the doubt, all the problems. I have called him every name under the sun, from a cat to a dog. But that has all culminated in him scoring the winner at Hillsborough to secure a double for United, to put us back joint top of the league. Oh, fantastic. A brilliant moment for him. And hopefully the real catalyst. I've said this time and time again, but there's 8 games left this season, and Rhian Brewster could have a huge role to play in what that means for Sheffield United and where we go next. After what happened midweek, after a really difficult performance, really difficult result against Bristol City, after Leeds had come back from 2-0 down to snatch a point yesterday, Burnley had won to pile the pressure on United. It was all there for us today, and we stood up, we were countered, we came through that challenge. We came through what was ultimately a terrible game. You know, I'm very excited, very carried away with that result from United. But ultimately, it was a really poor game of football. I thought it was terrible from start to finish, if I'm being honest. But United just had those extra bits of quality, the quality in our own box and the quality ultimately in theirs, which decides these tight games, the games that go like they did today. That's why United win 1-0, why United win by 1 goal whenever we do this. The reason is because we've got quality up front. And that moment from Tyrese Campbell, the way that he drags the defender around, the brilliant work to create the goal for Rhian Brewster, that's the quality that wins your game of football. But more so today, the man of the match for me, the quality man in the game, Michael Cooper. Oh, you have made yourself a Sheffield United hero in that game today, because he was outstanding. It was a brilliant save in the first 10 minutes from Michael Smith. When they got the backs up and they were really coming at us, Michael Cooper made an all-important save and took the sting out of the game and just calmed Wednesday right down. Second half, United are in front, and Wednesday are huffing and puffing, really struggling to create a chance. And then they have a fantastic effort from Marvin Johnson. And there he is again, Michael Cooper, making a big save. I mean, the lad misses an open net afterwards, but we'll talk about that later. But a fantastic save, keeps it 1-0 to United. And then really, when they're at last chance saloon, they've got to pump balls into the box. They've got to try and hit the big man up front. Michael Cooper, from 2 consecutive corners in extra time, comes out, deals with it, takes the pressure off. What a keeper. I'm so happy that we've got him. What a signing that is in the summer. £2 million. And I genuinely believe, look, James Trafford takes all the acclaim because of the clean sheets, but Michael Cooper's the best keeper in this division. He's so good, and he is such a difference maker. In games like today, he's the difference between 1 point and 3. I thought he was outstanding yet again. But that's my excitement bubbling over. Let's do match reaction things. Let's get into how did the game go. So go right back to 12 o'clock this morning, seeing that starting lineup, and I have to admit, I was a bit worried. I really thought Vinny Souza was going to start today. I thought he was going to get his place in the team. I thought he'd be back and he'd be fit enough to really sort of show up in an important game like this. But we didn't risk him. We chose that he was too injured. We don't want to risk him after the international break still being out. So he wasn't there to play today. And that's a massive loss. You know, I'd looked at the comments from Wilder midweek, and clearly it was mind games. But I'd really hoped he was going to play. So I was a bit deflated in my tummy. I was feeling it. I felt sick anyway, but suddenly I was feeling more sick. But I thought Hamza Chowdhury had a great game. I thought every time we needed somebody to make those defensive blocks, to chase the wingers if they got past the full-back, to just stand up and be countered, the amount of times he was the man making those blocks, diving into those challenges, making sure that Wednesday couldn't break fully and fast. I thought he had a really good game, and I thought he stepped in for Vinny Souza excellently in this performance today. The other big news, and well, I think we might have touched on it already, but let's touch on it again. Callum O'Hare didn't start this game, whether that's because of an injury, whether it's just because we thought tactically we needed a change. I was worried about that because I always think so much of our brilliant play comes through Callum O'Hare. His pressing, the way that he makes defenders make mistakes, the way that he keeps United further forward and up the pitch. I was worried when he wasn't starting, but of course, the man who stepped in to take his place, Rhian chuffing Brewster, and he showed up with a moment of quality. So all of those decisions, all of those big moments where you thought, have we got this right? There's question marks in that lineup. All of them proved to be correct because they had big influences on what happened in this game of football. Now, before I get into what happened actually on the pitch in the game, let's talk about that pitch because my God, it is genuinely atrocious, isn't it? It is a disgrace that you can play on a pitch like that in the Championship. I mean, if you told me I had to play on that in Graves Park on a Sunday, I'd be a little bit like, Jesus, can nobody look after it? What's happening? It is an absolute state. Obviously, it's the same for both teams. Maybe that's the reason that Wednesday can't win any games at Hillsborough because they struggle more than anyone. Really fun stat if anybody wants from today's game. In 2025, Sheffield United have won exactly the same number of games at Hillsborough as Sheffield Wednesday have. I'm going to have a lot of fun, I think, in the next few days because I just love winning. I love winning this game. All that stress and tension. It's nice to get it out. But I was worried. I'd seen the lineup and it was concerning me. I'd seen the pitch and I thought it would suit them with their big man up front, lumping it long, trying to be physical. Did think it was a game that was really going to play out for their game plan. And the first 10 minutes completely re-emphasised that because for the first 10 minutes, United could barely get a kick of the ball. They penned us right back in our own half. It was just a constant flurry of them long throw-ins, corners, crosses. They were constantly just keeping United back. And we had nobody who was capable at that time of just bringing the tension out of the game, putting their foot on the ball and making it count. Just to say, you know what, we're better than them. Let's not get caught up in the occasion. Let's let it happen. And they were just really coming out as they come firing out of the blocks. And that's when that huge chance I referenced earlier happened. That's when they get the ball down the wing. Now, I thought for the first 10 minutes, Femi Siriki was really struggling. Every time they came forward, I thought they were physically on top of him to make sure that he wasn't settled. I thought with the ball at his feet, he was giving it away cheaply. And it's never been more emphasised than it was at this chance when Michael Smith really probably should have scored because the ball is over the top. It's in behind. Siriki is the one chasing back to get there. And he gets there first. And this should be comfortable. It should either be a free kick to United or he should be putting it out in the stand. He couldn't do either. He didn't get the man to come in his back. He didn't get a proper clearance on it, and he just recycled it to Josh Windass in a really dangerous position. He knocked it back to Rio Sousa, who whipped it across, and Michael Smith is there. It's a header straight on goal. It's right down the middle, don't get me wrong, but it's a fantastic save from Michael Cooper. It is absolutely huge at that moment because when they've got their backs up, all of that pressure, it really would have made a huge impact on this game. And so Cooper showed up in that big moment, and that meant that United had ridden the storm. That was the only big chance, despite all the pressure that Wednesday were able to create. And we'd rode that storm. I thought for the next sort of half an hour, just from basically from the first 10 minutes until half time, United had really grown into this game. I thought we had control of the game. We weren't creating huge chances, but we had all of the ball and we were starting to put that pressure on ourselves. We'd had a couple of opportunities. Burrows fired one across goal that we just couldn't get a toe on. Brereton Diaz had done the same from the far side Tyrese Campbell had done the same from the far side where we just couldn't get a touch on it. And it did feel as though United were now starting to produce these moments. And I did think we were going to get one. Gus Harmer gets the ball in the middle, plays a lovely weighted through ball. Campbell's chasing it in and he just can't get his foot on it. And I thought, yeah, it felt as though United now had settled into that rhythm. We're the better team, we're the better footballing team, and we're ready to kick on and win this game. They were getting dirty, they were getting a little bit nasty, they were starting to come in late, leave it on the players a little bit, trying to hurt or bully United into a little bit of submission, but we weren't letting them have it. But of course, there was one moment where it nearly blew over. Their lad, I think it's Patterson, fouls Brereton Diaz and then just kicks the ball at him while he's on the ground. Brereton Diaz gets up and he's in his face. handbags at dawn, if we're being honest. But yellow cards both way. Thought it maybe was a little bit harsh. Maybe could have let it go. But that was pretty much it for what was a pretty boring first half. Not much had happened. United had ridden the storm for the first 10 and then really taken control without creating anything of note. It really felt as though we'd grown into the game. Then half-time, we come out for the second half, and it started a little bit similar to the first half, in all honesty, only with maybe a little bit less intensity. They again came at us with a quite high tempo. They were trying to force us back, trying to use all of that physicality to get on top of the two United centre-halves and really box us in to try and stop us being able to get out. It was less successful, I thought, in the second half. They weren't creating chances. They didn't have us as deep as we needed to, and United were able to get a little bit of a foot on the ball and start to play their game. And then came this huge moment, 64 minutes on the clock, ball into the channel for Tyrese Campbell, and he stands his man up. He's waiting for someone to get into the box. He then knocks it to the byline. Ihekwe, my God, that man has got the turning circle of a bus. How is a defender in that position so flat-footed? He stood there standing his man up, and as he's knocked it, Tyrese Campbell had all the time in the world then. He's knocked it to the byline. He's got all the time to pick out his man in the middle, flashes it across goal. I have no idea what Jeremy Beadle's doing in their net. My God, it's there for him. I think maybe there's a deflection. Maybe I'm being harsh on him. But I talked about Michael Cooper before, the way he comes and he collects. He commands his box. He makes sure that anything that's in his zone is under his control. Beadle did not think that was an option. He didn't think it should be in his control. So instead, he kind of flaps at it, doesn't get anything on the ball, doesn't get anywhere near the ball, leaves himself in no man land. And there he is, the man, the myth, the legend that is the Brewdog, at the backstop, knocks it into an empty net. And yeah, what a fantastic moment. What a big celebration. You can hear the United fans going mental. And if Barry Bannon's watching, you are honking, son. It's not a great accent, let's be honest with ourselves. After the goal, I thought we sort of reverted back to how the game had been. We did a very United performance for that last half an hour. United are 1 goal ahead. We let the other team have a lot of the ball. They're huffing, they're puffing. Are they able to create any chances against a really organised, really professional Sheffield United team? And no, they couldn't really until about the 85th minute. They get down the right wing. It's a rubbish cross into the box. It's just terrible. But for some reason, we let it bounce once. We let it bounce twice. We let it run all the way through to the back post where it's come to Marvin Johnson. He strikes it well. It's a good save from Michael Cooper to push it away, but it falls right to Svante Ingelsson. He's got an open goal in front of him. Just knock it into the net. Let the ball just hit you and roll into the net. But of course, when they don't have the quality of a Rhian Brewster playing at centre forward for them, it comes to Ingelsson and he just knocks it over the bar. It's a really uncomposed, terrible finish. It's a huge let off for United, but it was the last big chance of the game. We then managed to see it out relatively comfortably from that point onwards, and we completed the Sheffield double for this season. 2 games played, 0 goals conceded, 6 huge points, which keep us right up there on top of the championship. Thanks for coming, Sheffield Wednesday. Don't let the door hit you on the way out. Oh, what a game. What a win. Let's come to some of your comments. See what you thought of today's huge victory at Hillsborough and the double for Sheffield United. Matt Hamilton comes straight in. Rhian Brewster, new contract. What's the saying? Rhian Brewster, 4 more years. 4 more years. Obviously, that is a huge moment there today. It's a moment that will live long in the memory for all Sheffield United fans. If I remember correctly, the last Sheffield double was by United in 2006. The winning goal scored by Ade Akinbayi, another striker who had his difficulties at Bramall Lane, but who wrote his way into legend with a winning goal at Hillsborough. And it's the same for Rhian Brewster. I don't know if he will sign a new contract. I don't know what that looks like, but it is very nice to know that he will go down and he will be remembered. Gaza coming straight in with a little bit of banter, shall we say. Never seen it empty so quick. Well, Gaza, that means that you don't watch Wednesday when they're on Sky very often, because to be honest, they normally go at half time if it's 1-0. They don't manage to keep themselves around very long. As soon as they go behind, it immediately empties. They want to try and beat the traffic, but unfortunately they create the traffic because they all leave en masse as soon as anything doesn't go their way. They've got the 2nd worst home record in the championship so far this season. And you have to wonder whether or not them not sticking around when the going gets tough is part of the reason why you've got to make sure that you're there. Because with 5 minutes to go in a Sheffield Derby, when you're only 1 goal behind, they really should have been there, really screaming for their team today. And, well, There's a reason it stayed 1-0 and it stayed comfortable. We've got more comments. Everybody is praising Rhian Brewster. But this man, Chris Simpson, he's shouting it out for Michael Cooper because he's right there. Wednesday did have more chances. They had two really big ones in that game where Michael Cooper has made an excellent save. I think, again, United might have had 2 shots on target today because I think Sidney Peck basically passed one back to Beadle at one point. But Wednesday were the team who had those more shots, more chances, but we've got somebody who is a difference maker in goal. And that is exactly what you need to be able to win these games of football, to be able to make sure you stay right at the top of the league. You've got to be brilliant from goalkeeper to centre forward. And that's where United have those difference makers. Michael Cooper is a difference maker and he is the man. The absolute man. Callum just getting blades. And I know that Callum will have had a fantastic day in that away end at Hillsborough. I saw him on Friday night and I know probably felt like me a little bit of that worry in his belly. Oh, but we don't need to because it's over and it's another 3 points, another massive win. Julie, Rhian Brewster needed that. Let's hope he carries on and takes it forward. All that matters from Alessandro is the points. Forget about the performance. Forget who had more chances. Let's just stand here and celebrate Rhian Brewster and Michael Cooper. Steve Robinson, Pigslayer, 25. Rhian Brewster. What a man. Callum wants to talk about Hamza Chowdhury. I talked about him a little bit at the start, but it's definitely worth shouting out how good I thought he was today. I really do think he was excellent. Every time we needed a man at the back making those blocks, there were so many times in the second half, particularly after they brought on Valentin, who's a much more attacking fullback, where he would try and overlap down the outside. Every time he did that, it was up to Burrows to try and stop his man. I thought Burrows had a really good game up against him. But if there was ever a chance where they got in behind him, it was always Chowdhury making that first block. He was always the one marking that little half space between the wing and the centre of United's penalty box to make sure that none of the crosses could get through, that he was heading them away, he was knocking them out for corners, he was making his blocks. I really thought it was a fantastic performance from him today. I think he stepped in when we really needed him to, because without Vinny Souza, I was worried. I think somebody in the chat has said, no Vinny, no Winnie. That's a fantastic pun, I think, from Julie. But she was wrong, and that's mainly because of the performance of Hamza Chowdhury, who had a fantastic game, I thought, today. Sharon, Shaz, always fantastic to have Shaz in chat. Whizzes. And Sharon says that they haven't scored against United. The last goal, I was thinking about this myself earlier today, the last goal that Sheffield Wednesday scored against Sheffield United turned into one of the most fantastic moments to be a Sheffield United fan. Lucas João got them up, got them bouncing, and we sat them down that day, and they've been sat down ever since because there is no time for them to come back against United at the minute. We are so far ahead, and today we're just reinforcing that, keeping ourselves in front. And Michael Cooper is making sure that they're not scoring again and they're not bouncing again. Oh, Blades. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for coming on this with me today. But this isn't it. That's not the season. It's a fantastic moment. It's a fantastic win. It's a fantastic day to be a Sheffield United fan. But it is not the end because we've got 8 huge games now between today and the end of the season because we're back in the automatic promotion places. We are level on points with Leeds, joint top of the Championship. And it is all in our hands to secure promotion, potentially to secure the Championship title and to end ourselves back in the Premier League where we want to be, where we know we're good enough to be. We have been the best team in the Championship so far, and we've just got to keep that going. Today's a fantastic result, but it doesn't change that. We've got to go on and back it up immediately after the international break, beat Coventry, pile all of that pressure back onto Leeds and Burnley, and let's see them wobble, because we've shown today that we're not going to wobble when they play first. We've got it in us to take up all these high-pressure moments and take it away, and to go forwards, winning games of football. Now, I'm going to finish today with something really stupid, because I'm in the mood for something really stupid. For any wrestling fans out there, today is March 16th. It is Stone Cold Steve Austin Day. And therefore, there's only one way that we should end today's chat. And that is, of course, by saying, Rhian Brewster 316 says, "We just kicked your ass." Up the Blades.
Ollie, ollie, ollie.